welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to a new cycle on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agbomofwebe. President Bola Tinubu has approved the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund to bridge the country's $25 billion per annum infrastructure funding gap. The new initiative will be domiciled in the presidency, and that's according to Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who spoke with journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He said the fund became necessary given Nigeria's current infrastructure gap, requiring $878 billion to bridge between 2016 and 2040. He said there is a study that was made that noted that Nigeria will require this amount between 2016 and 2040 to bridge its infrastructure deficit. The federal government has hailed foreign service officers for launching the Academy of International Affairs. Vice President Kashif Shettima stated that the Academy has the potential to make improvements in the management of Nigeria's foreign policy. The Vice President, who spoke at the inauguration of the Academy in Abuja, stated that it emerged at a period when it was needed most. Shettima told the foreign service officers that Nigeria needed their input in addressing some of the challenges the nation is facing. The federal government has concluded plans to train some newly recruited personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, in 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory at the School Safety Protection Squads to halt cases of abduction of school children from their schools. The commander of the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center of the NSCDC, Hamid Abiodun, disclosed these just as the Defense Headquarters said troops had rescued 137 abducted pupils of the LAA Primary School and the Government Secondary School, Kuriga, in the Chikan local government area of Kaduna State within Zamfara State. This came as President Bola Tinubu welcomed the news of the release of the Kuriga school children, as well as the release of pupils of Shangaya School in Sokoto State, commending all the parties involved in the feat for their valiant efforts. In the meantime, the federal government has said that no ransom was paid to free the pupils who were abducted from Kuriga village in Kaduna State. This was revealed by Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, during the Federal Executive Council meeting presided by President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Idris applauded President Tinubu, the National Security Advisor, the service chiefs, and everyone else who made a significant contribution to the release of the children. He added that President Tinubu has directed security services to step up their efforts to put an end to the nationwide kidnapping crisis. The Leprosy Mission Nigeria, TLMN, in an effort to provide sustainable psychological support and referral service to communities experiencing distress, have commissioned a toll-free call center to address the crucial need for accessible mental health services. Fozia Lukman has the rest of the story.
In an event that sees the network of support from all stakeholders in the disability community, the Leprosy Mission Nigeria commissions a call center to assess critical needs to mental services for persons with disabilities in psychological distress. While commissioning the center, the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Special Needs and Equal Opportunities, Honorable Mohammed Abba Isa, says the center represents a beacon of hope to individuals often marginalized and overlooked.
The establishment of this call center represents a beacon of hope for those often find themselves marginalized and overlooked. It is a testament to our commitment to ensuring that every citizen, regardless of their background or circumstance, has access to the support and resources they need to treat. But today we say no more. Today we take a stand against stigma and discrimination. We affirm our belief in the inherent dignity and worth of every human being. And we declare our unwavering commitment to building a society where everyone has the opportunity to live a life of dignity and fulfillment.
The Leprosy Mission Nigeria TLMN National Director, Dr. Sunday Udo, speaks on the crucial aspect of overall well-being as other stakeholders appreciate the inclusivity.
As we all know, mental health is a crucial aspect of overall well-being. It is a facet of healthcare that unjustly receives less attention than it deserves in this country. In fact, globally, but worse in Nigeria, particularly when it comes to those with disabilities. Combating the stigma and discrimination associated with mental health has been an ongoing battle, and today we stand strong to fight that fight.
In the NTDs, we know the importance of mental health, and that is the more reason why we are developing or reviewing our NTD master plan. Mental health was captured and incorporated. I want to assure you that the NTDs program will collaborate effectively with you and support you all the way. Thank you and God bless you.
Today is a great day to be a person with disabilities because the journey of 1,000 miles has just commenced. What do I mean and why are we here? For the first time in the history of the disability community, we have a hotline, that's what I choose to call it, a hotline where we can call in and have our well-being, our mental issues, because you see, one of the major issues of disabilities that is not addressed in this country is the post-traumatic stress disorder of disabilities, especially for those of us who acquired disabilities, who were not born with a disability. Now we have a number, 0800 005060 that you can call and then have some level of a high level of interaction that can tell you what the challenge you're facing is, how you can navigate through the challenge, and what the future can hold for you with that challenge.
Psychological distress knows no boundaries as it affects anyone regardless of age, gender, or socio-economic status. Fauzia Lukman, Global TV News.
Thank you, Fauzia Lukman. Governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, has approved the appointments of 168 assistants and 104 board members for the 15 agencies and commissions of the state. This is contained in a statement issued by the Secretary to the Borno State Government, Alhaji Bukar Tijani, in Maiduguri. He said the appointees comprised of 9 senior technical assistants, STA, 81 senior special assistants, SSAs, and 78 special assistants, SAs. The SSG also listed 104 others as chairmen and board members of 15 agencies and the commissions. The appointment, according to the SSG, was done based on powers conferred on the governor by virtue of provisions of Section 208, subsection 2D of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. You're watching News Cycle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Cycle returns, CBN directs BDCs to sell dollar at 1,269 naira. These and other stories coming right after this short break. Do stay with us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of News Cycle with Uyi Agumofwegwe. Thank you so very much for staying with us. On the foreign scene, supporters of the opposition candidate, Bosiro Diomaye Faye, have rallied in the streets to rejoice over their candidate's early victories in Senegal's presidential election. Faye's victory is coming just a week after his release from prison, but his main rival from the ruling coalition insisted that a second round will be necessary to ascertain the winner. The winner will have to steer Senegal, viewed as a beacon of democracy in cool-heat West Africa, out of 3 years of turbulence and a political crisis, and manage revenues from oil and gas reserves that are shortly to start production. Uncertainty remains over the outcome of the unprecedented votes, with official results not expected before the end of the week. An absolute majority is required for a first-round win. For weeks, President Joe Biden and his senior officials have been losing patience with the way that Israel is fighting the war in Gaza. They have used increasingly stiff language to convey their displeasure to Israel and the wider world. The decision to allow the latest ceasefire resolution through the Security Council shows that President Biden has decided that strong words are not enough. Removing diplomatic protection from Israel's conduct of the war, he says, is a significant step. It shows the depth of the rift that has opened between the White House and Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. The United Nations Security Council has called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza after the United States did not veto the measure in a shift from its previous position. It also demanded the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. It is the first time the Council has called for a ceasefire since the war began in October after several failed attempts. The move by the U.S. signals growing divergence between it and its ally Israel over the country's offensive in Gaza. The Francis Court Key Bridge in the U.S. city of Baltimore has collapsed after a ship collided with it. According to Maryland Transportation Authority, it says I-695 Key Bridge collapsed due to ship strike. That's according to MTA, posted on social media platform X, referring to the interstate highway. It urged drivers to avoid the routes over the Pasco River, which it called an active scene. Earlier, the MTA had said interstate lanes in both directions were closed due to an incident on the bridge and that traffic was being redirected. A police spokesperson from the Baltimore Police Department said that people were possibly in the river. Florida State Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill that will prohibit children younger than 14 from joining social media in the state. According to the report, those who are 14 or 15 will need a parent's consent before they join a platform. The bill, also called HB 3, directs social media companies to delete their existing accounts of those who are under 14. Companies that fail to do so could be sued on behalf of the child who creates an account on the platform. The minor could be awarded up to $10,000 in damages, according to the bill. The French Interior Minister has launched multiple anti-drug crackdowns, reflecting the government's commitment to show it is serious about tackling the drug trade and crime in cities ahead of European elections. The French Interior Minister announced multiple nationwide anti-drug crackdowns, reflecting the government's commitment to show it is also dedicated to tackling the drug trade and crime in cities ahead of the European elections. Interior Minister Gerard Darmanin said that police units conducted raids and made several arrests in the northern city of Lille. Said that the authorities are going to multiply the operations that the country says have prepared for months to hit very hard. And now time to talk some business. The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has directed applicants of the Presidential Conditional Grant Scheme to submit their National Identification Numbers, NIN, as part of the necessary requirements to obtain a grant earmarked to cushion the effect that recent economic reforms have had on businesses in the country. The government, through the Bank of Industry, had said it would be disbursing 3 categories of funding totaling 200 billion naira to support manufacturing and businesses across the country. It added that the new rule was based on the new regulations from the Central Bank of Nigeria, directing Nigerians to link their national identification numbers with their bank accounts. It noted that only verified applicants will receive this notification, and NINs must match the applicant's name for the process to proceed. The European Union, EU, in continuation of its commitments to supporting the federal government in providing clean, affordable, and sustainable energy for all, has introduced 2 new projects worth €9 million in Nigeria's energy sector. The EU disclosed this in Abuja during the project's inception, a workshop organized in partnership with the federal government and United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. With a population of over 200 million, had an electricity consumption per capita of 147 kilowatt hours in 2022, while South Africa, with a population of over 60 million, boasted of electricity consumption of per capita of 3,566 kilowatt hours during the same period, according to the World Bank. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the country's average per hour data stood at 3,689.700 megawatts in September 2023, as it continues to struggle with low power generation and poor distribution infrastructure. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has raised the monetary policy rate, MPR, which is its benchmark interest rate, to 24.75%, representing 200 basis points increase from 22.75% in February. The CBN, however, retained the cash reserve ratio, CRR, of commercial banks at 45%, but adjusted upward the CRR of merchant banks from 10 to 14%. The Apex Bank also retained the liquidity ratio of banks at 30%. In the meantime, the Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed that it will be allocating $10,000 to each bureau de change operator at 1,251 naira to the greenback. This was contained in a circular made available and signed by the bank's Director, Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Hassan Mahmoud. The Apex Bank directed each BDC to sell the dollar to eligible customers at a rate not exceeding 1.5% above the purchase price, implying the BDCs are not expected to sell above 1,269 naira to the dollar. On July 27, 2021, the CBN discontinued the sale of foreign exchange to bureau de change operators, accusing them of trading FX wholesale amounts greater than $5,000 in contravention of their licenses and Nigeria's FX regulations. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, has revealed that it is proposing a memorandum of understanding with the United Kingdom's Financial Reporting Council, FRC, that will allow its members to obtain audit qualification rights in the United Kingdom. In a statement, ICANN said that the move was premised on the fact that accounting and audit practices have become global. It says if the proposed MOU between ICANN and FRC is signed, ICANN members can exchange or engage in an audit in the United Kingdom. The idea was mooted during the visit to the UK Financial Reporting Council, led by ICANN President Dr. Innocent Okosa, as part of activities for the 11th ICANN UK International Conference. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Commandant General Special Intelligence Squad has uncovered a massive illegal oil refining site at a forest in Odagwa community in Eche local government area of Rivers State. The site comprises over 10 illegal refineries with an estimated 500,000 liters of crude oil contained in about 50 illegally constructed reservoirs, while 5 suspects engaging in the illicit acts were arrested. The spokesman for the NSCDC Rivers State Command, Olufemi Ayodele, disclosed these while parading the suspects and conducted newsmen around the site. The Federal Executive Council has approved the institutionalization of a 10% youth quota in all government appointments and an equitable young women representation. Dr. Jamila Ibrahim, Minister of Youth, disclosed these at the end of the 4th FEC apology for that loss of audio. We thank you for your understanding. Let's take you to our previous story, where the Federal Executive Council has approved the institutionalization of a 10% youth quota in all government appointments and an equitable young women representation. Dr. Jamila Ibrahim, who is Minister of Youth, disclosed this at the end of the 4th FEC meeting in Abuja. She said that the council also approved the restructure of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund and the revamping of the Youth Investment Fund. Kikelamo Okeri has details.
The Minister of Youth says the quota will encourage young people to participate in decision-making process and in civic engagement.
We have received Council's approval to institutionalize a 30% youth quota, a 30% representation of young people in all government appointments, and an equitable young women representation inclusive of this 30%. Well, this will go a long way to address the long marginalization and exclusion of young people in decision-making, and will also go a long way to encourage young people to participate in decision-making processes and in civic engagements. This will in turn lead to young people contributing tremendously to national development.
Meanwhile, FEC has approved the setting up of infrastructure fund to be known as Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund. This followed a projection that Nigeria will require over $878 billion to bridge infrastructure deficit in the country.
Wisdom of Mr. President and magnanimity, so to say, of the Council that they've approved the establishment of Renew Hope Infrastructure Fund as the catalyst to actually drive our infrastructure agenda. So this innovative fund consolidates existing resources to drive economic growth and connectivity across sectors like transport, agriculture, aviation, and education, and other social.
The Federal Executive Council also approved the construction of 28 roads and bridges across the country worth over 1.2 trillion naira. The Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says the projects were approved by FEC, having gone through the Bureau of Public Procurement and Certificate of No Objection secured. Kikelamo Okeri, Global Television News.
The federal government has confirmed the outbreak of ginger blight epidemic in 4 states in Nigeria, adding that ginger farmers have lost over 12 billion naira due to the disease. It disclosed this at the inauguration of the National Ginger Blight Epidemic Control Task Force in Abuja, and revealed that the fungal disease had inflicted significant damage on ginger farms in Kaduna, Nasarawa, Plateau, and the Federal Capital Territory. Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Abdullahi, said that the blight had caused billions of naira in losses, impacting not only the livelihoods of farmers, but Nigeria's position as the world's 2nd largest ginger producer. The federal government has deducted over 415 billion naira from state government allocations to service their external loans. This was according to data from the Federation Account Allocation Committee disbursements reports published by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. The deductions were made between 2019 and 2023 from the allocations given to state governments from the Federation accounts. The Federation account is currently being managed under a legal framework that allows funds to be shared under 3 major components: statutory allocation, value-added tax distribution, and derivation principle. The federal government has donated truckloads of grains to the Kano State government for distribution to the needy. The donation consists of 100 trucks of rice, 44 trucks of sorghum, and 4 trucks of maize. The donation arrived just as the state government said it had begun an investigation into its ongoing Ramadan feeding program in the state. State's Director General, Media and Publicity, Sanusi Tofa, disclosed this to journalists in Kano. He said Dangote Foundation also supported the state with 120,000 10 kg bags of rice. And that marks the end of News Cycle here on Global Television. Thank you everyone for watching. Coming up shortly is Big Talk with Michael Edikan. Have a great time.